Hi friends and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about a little amp that just begged to come home with me, at least off of eBay, called the Gebs 499J. And there was just something kind of homely and cute about it at the same time. It just spoke to me. So it actually came to me in basically a box of parts that had sat in the back room of a music store in Los Angeles for years apparently, and I really don't have much more backstory on it than that. It's a neat little amp produced in the 1930s and puts out about 3, 4, maybe 5 watts with a stiff wind at its back. It's a neat little amp, and I'm going to show you the restoration process I went through to put it all back together. I bought this amp during COVID, and I shot this in 2020 and put the footage in a folder and just forgot it was there. So guess what? You're getting to see it now. And stick around till the end. I will play it in its full form in the cabinet and everything. And I'm not going to make you sit through all 4 hours of the restoration footage that I shot. I condensed it a lot. There are actually a couple of videos that I sort of popped out of it. One is going to be repairing and testing the field coil speaker that's in it, and there will be another surprise separate video on another component in there. So anyway, stick with me. It's going to be a lot of fun. Here we go. Let's take a look at this particular model. The one thing we do have is the Gebs label there, and the cool thing about the Gebs label is it has the model number of the amp, but it also has what tubes are supposed to be in it. And this little plate could have gone to several different amplifiers. In fact, I've seen a push-pull amplifier that has 5 tubes, and you have a rectifier here, and you have 2 preamp tubes and then 2 output tubes, or output tubes in the back and preamp tubes in the front, which in some cases, the ones I've seen, it's either an 83V rectifier or 5Y3. 6 and 7s seem to be common in the preamp section, and either 6V6 or 6F6 output tubes, and they'll give you about the same amount of output, although the one with 5 tubes seems to usually have a 12-inch speaker. They're cool, especially if they have the Gebs triangular logo on them. This one I really kind of caught my eye, mostly because of that little jewel of a 6-inch Rolla field coil speaker. It's in great shape. Actually, everything. I'm not sure this amp ever got played. It was on a dead stock pile. This 6 and 7 came with it. The power cord, comes out here. The bad thing about this one particularly, then I'm going to have to repair this, is one of the tube sockets is crunched, and I can tell you exactly how it happened, which was this thing hit the corner of the field coil, and had been thrown into a corner or something. I don't know. The cabinet moved. And the reason I guess that is because it almost did it to me. There's a bolt that goes in here to hold the chassis to the cabinet, and that also is missing. While we're at it, on the little things that I'm going to have to fix, this goes to either speaker or the field coil. I think it's the speaker. I'm going to have to take a closer look, but that's going to be easy enough to fix. The volume and on-off are together, and they are frozen, so I'm going to have to get in there and unstick that pot. The other big thing we've got is no handle. So I've got one on order, and we're going to get that fixed too. I'm actually really curious to hear how this thing sounds. I think it's going to be fairly bright. I don't think it's going to be very loud, but this is the kind of amp that typically came in a set with a slide guitar. If you've ever seen the mother of pearl, or as some people call the mother of toilet seat amps that the Dickerson brothers made, or Oahu, a couple other brands, back in the late 30s, early 40s, that's the kind of amp we have here. Now, the first thing I want to do is take this thing apart. We got a couple of things to fix on the cabinet. Obviously the handle. I want to take a look at what's under here. What I'm going to do is take all these out. Okay, so here's my first major disappointment of this project, and that is, there you go, this speaker, the cone is torn, and that is really not good, not to mention the fact that the dust cap is just not there. On the other hand, except for the power wire, this looks pretty good. Part of the reason I say this thing may have never been played is these wax coated caps, and usually in an old amp like this they've dripped because you have heat that builds up under the chassis, and the capacitors will tend to melt. I don't want to say they look brand new, but they look like they haven't had much use, so we'll see. It's a pretty impressive old Mallory wire wound resistor, and underneath the transformer looks pretty good. So we'll take a look at a schematic on this. Most of what I know about this amp was gleaned from an article in Vintage Guitar Magazine. Apparently, Gebs had some connection to NIOMA, which you find some guitars branded NIOMA, acoustic guitars and lap steels. Of course, this amp probably came with a lap steel. NIOMA standing for National Institute of Music and Arts, I believe. It was all part of the You Too Can Learn Hawaiian Guitar lap steel craze of the late 30s and early 40s. The stockholder in the NIOMA scheme, whatever it was a guy named W.C. Gebs, who apparently lent his name to these amps. There were a variety of people who may have produced these, as I said earlier, but anyway, just their simplicity itself. It is a 6 and 7 with the signal coming in through the volume pot, which to me is never optimal, but for historical accuracy's sake, we're just going to leave it like that. Runs through the 6 and 7, which is kind of like a 6SC7, except a little less gain. So it's gained up in the first stage, and it comes over to the second stage, gained up again. I think each section has a mu of 58 or 60, somewhere in there. And then we go to the 6V6, which outputs to a field coil speaker. The output transformer is mounted directly to the frame of the speaker, which seems to happen a lot with field coils. And you have two 10 microfarad filter caps and a 5Y3 rectifier. Now, the original values are shown on here. In fact, I'm going to bump this up just a hair so you can see it. I drew it with a 2-prong plug and just the switch. During the refurbishment, I guess you want to call it, I changed the filter capacitors to 22 microfarads each, just to get it a little more filtration. You've only got 2 stages. Normally you'd like to see 3, but I'm leaving it at 2. 5Y3 rectifier, and I put in a 3-prong plug and a 1.5 amp fuse internally, so it doesn't really show. Some of these amps had 83V rectifiers with 6 and 7 preamp tubes and 6 F6 output tubes, which they were about the same as a 6V6, so not really much different, probably just whatever they could get a hold of in terms of tube lineup. But it produced a nice little amp that certainly was capable of putting out enough volume for somebody to learn how to play lap steel or whatever, early electrified guitar. Now we're going to go through the refurbishment. I am going to run this up on my Variac just in case something is not quite right. Okay, bring the voltage down. We are getting current draw, so that's good. Oh, that's what I like to hear. Oh, it's really what I like to hear. I'm doing this slowly because the coupling caps haven't seen any voltage across them, and I have no idea how long, and so I want to kind of gently prod those. Let's run up to go to 100. There we go. When this amplifier came out, it was probably like 110, 117 volts. So that's probably where we should test it, but let's see. All right, I'm liking this so far. And the amperage draw seems to be about right. Let's just run it up to 110. That's what I figured would happen. The pot for the volume, it's only a 200K pot, and it doesn't, there's not a lot. It's either pretty much off or on. So it makes sound. I can hear my dog howling. Right. Let's button back up. Well, there you go, friends. I don't have much more than that. That is the saga of the Gebs 499J, and as I said, it's a simple little amp. I would say I've got a little bit more work to do to it. I would like to find a small can cap and replace the discrete caps that I put in there. But otherwise, it's a nice little amp. It's fun to play. It's got a very genuine tone, I would say. So anyway, if the mood strikes you, go build something. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. You might have a lot of cool amps in your collection, but I bet you don't have one of these. This is a Gebs 499J. And it was made sometime around the late 30s or the early 40s. That's the backside of it. In Los Angeles somewhere, and we'll get into the history of it, and we'll take a look at it and see if we can bring this thing back up to operating condition. It's got an interesting little story, at least what I've been able to piece together. So stay tuned, we'll see if we can get her fixed up.